Welcome back to a new episode of The Good Talk here in studio, West Coast Creative Studio. Today we have AJ Robledo. How you doing, man?
Pretty good. What's going on, guys? My name's AJ. I've been on a 200-pound weight loss journey the past little less than 2 years, and I've also been on a sobriety journey at the same time. So I've been on a life-changing journey, and I'm here to share my story of how I started, what got me there, and where I'm going from here.
Awesome. So, dude, so where are you from?
So I'm originally from Philadelphia, right outside of Philly, about an hour and a half outside the city.
Okay, so
Yes.
Philadelphia, and when did you move out to California?
So I moved out here about last July, so July of 2024, and I've been here since.
Okay, so last July.
Yes.
So you kind of recently just moved out here.
Yes.
Wow, what do you think of California?
I absolutely love it out here so far. I love the weather. There's so many amazing people to meet, so many creatives who are just following their dreams. The state is just so different depending on where you go. So I've absolutely loved it out here so far.
Sure. And so you've been on this journey of yours, right? This weight loss journey. And what was your highest weight when you were like at your highest?
So the highest I ever weighed on the scale was 550, but I believe I was closer to 600 at one point. And now I'm currently in the 340s.
Okay, wow.
Yes.
So that's a lot of weight that you've lost.
That's a lot of weight.
So what year was that when you were at like your highest?
When I was at my highest, I would say 2022 into 2023.
Okay.
Yes.
Wow. So in a couple years, you've managed to lose how many pounds?
I've managed to lose almost 210 pounds.
Wow, that's an
Yes.
incredible. Can you tell us a little bit more about your journey leading up to this point?
Yes. So I grew up in a situation where I was bullied a lot. I went through a lot of childhood trauma that kind of got me to a point of using food and other substances to cope with. A lot of my creativity that I had gained from those experiences was kind of shamed out in a sense. So I turned to food and substances as a way to kind of cope with it. And then that kind of spiraled into what we had where I was almost 600 pounds, deeply into addiction, and just did not want to wake up each day.
Wow. When you say you didn't want to wake up each day, like what do you mean by that?
What I mean by that is that I didn't see a point to keep going if I wasn't able to express myself, express my creativity.
Mm-hmm.
I found that I was shamed a lot for my creativity because I didn't understand social dynamics as much, because growing up that big, you kind of isolate yourself naturally.
Mm-hmm.
So I ended up in a sense where I just felt shamed, and I just didn't see a reason to keep going if I wasn't creating something or doing productive, or I felt so bad about myself and my body.
Yeah. So when was that moment when you realized that something had to change?
So it was, I was in my junior year of college, late junior year, and I had just gotten done a party. I woke up the next morning. I was just not feeling well. I was hungover. I just was not happy with myself at all. And then I woke up. I could barely breathe. I could barely move. And that was kind of my moment where I'm like, something's got to change. And I started going down to the gym in my college apartment, going on a treadmill, just trying to use a treadmill, elliptical, whatever I could to just get active. And then slowly but surely started documenting it with my diet. And then obviously I had no idea what I was doing when I first got started. But I knew that as long as I just showed up and started making little changes, I could eventually improve the situation.
Wow. So then at that point you started your own journey, your own fitness weight loss journey, right?
Yes.
And then how long did it take before you realized that this is something you wanted to pursue? And then now you're a transformation coach?
Yes, now I'm a transformation coach. What kind of got me into it was I was about a year into my journey, and I realized that so many people were commenting on my videos talking about how they wanted to get started. They just didn't know how. And the initial rumblings in my head were, okay, maybe I could help some people. Maybe I could help them start their journey. People who were where I was.
Yeah.
And I floated the idea for a bit, and then it really wasn't until I moved out here to California and I met some more of my my community on social media, and then I also met some people in real life who had similar stories, and that really kind of got my motors going on how, oh, I could really do this for a living, or do this as my passion.
Yeah. So now you're pursuing this, and now you're a fitness transformation coach.
Yes.
How long have you
yes.
been doing that now?
So I've been doing that for about 4 months.
Okay.
I haven't been able to build the momentum quite as yet because a lot of people see me still a big guy, still on my journey. I don't have everything figured out, but I feel like I can be kind of a motivation or accountability coach for those who want to go along the journey with me.
Yeah. And what about you? Did you have a coach? Did you have a mentor? Did you have someone that helped you to get where you
Yes.
are now?
Absolutely. I've had a couple coaches and mentors who have helped me throughout the journey, and I've learned from all of them because one thing I've realized on this journey is you can learn something from everyone you meet, right? So you just figure out what kind of applies to you, and then you can adjust that to your plan. So it really becomes your own thing.
Hmm.
Yes.
And do you have a coach now?
Yes, I do.
Okay, cool. And how do they help you?
So they help me. They help me with meal plans and workout plans, accountability. So I check in with them weekly, and then we also make sure that I'm going in the right direction. So if I have a stall or a gain, they help me readjust so that way I can get back on the right track.
Sure. Did you feel overwhelmed when you just started your journey?
Yes, I did. I was so overwhelmed. I had no idea what I was doing. I just knew something had to change. And what put me off for so long, I kept going back to my old cycles because I would just get tired of trying and give up. And then I would find myself slowly going back to my old self. And then what I realized eventually, I had to snap out of it and was like, every time I start going back to those habits, I feel the same way I did. So why
Hmm.
would I go back? Why wouldn't I just try to pivot or at least try to get a little better each day? It didn't make sense. I keep sliding back, keep sliding back. It was like I say it's like when you're making a drink and you realize you put too much sugar in,
Hmm.
dumping the whole bag in. It just doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
So I had to realize that instead of dumping the whole bag in, just figure out how to make the recipe better in the state it's in.
Yeah. And what advice would you give someone who is just starting their journey and is feeling overwhelmed with everything?
I would say if you're just getting started, don't try to figure out the big picture. Just figure out the little details as you go along. So maybe that starts with, okay, when I get up, instead of having a pastry or having a donut, I'm going to have a bagel with egg or an English muffin with egg. It's about making those little changes along the journey that kind of help you start to see the overall bigger picture of where you're going.
Yeah.
Because if you start by saying I have to have the perfect breakfast, lunch, dinner, perfect snacks, perfect plan every day, that's a lot for the body to process at once. So you really kind of need the gradual approach to gradually bring yourself in it. And you might slip back, that's just a part of the journey, but it's about when you slip back, going back to what made you see those successes to begin with.
Sure. So habits, right? Habits are very important. You got
Habits
to
are
kick the old habits
exactly.
and get some new healthy habits.
Yes.
Yeah. What are
Yes.
some habits that you would recommend someone?
So one habit that I have that has really helped me when I get up in the morning, I drink some water, I turn my phone off, I just put it in my room and I go for a quick walk, even if it's just up and down the block a couple of times. It's something to you get water in you to help hydrate you, and then you get your blood flowing with the walk, maybe take a shower. It's about what can you do like first in the day to show a promise to yourself that's simple and easy, which sets you up for the rest of the day to show up for yourself, be more confident.
Yeah.
Yes.
So tell me a little bit more about your business, right? How would you describe your business?
So I would describe my business as I'm a transformation coach for people who are just getting started. So someone's in that broken spot. They're 400, 500 pounds. They know they need to make a change. They have no idea what they want to do. And I'm that person to kind of guide them and say, okay, you may not think you have no idea what to do, but what habits can we start now that kind of get you in the right direction? I don't like giving people specific meal plans.
Hmm.
I'll give them kind of lists of foods that they want to stick to,
Mm.
a calorie range, and then I'll say like, okay, what does your diet look like? And then I'll kind of help them make tweaks in their diet already, rather than trying to start them off with something completely different from what they did.
Got you. So you don't want to start them off too strong, too extreme. kind of start with the basics.
Exactly, because if you start them off too strong, then they're
They're
gonna
gonna
fall
fall off
off,
quicker.
and they're gonna keep
Yeah.
going back to square one.
Yeah.
We want it so when you fall off, you're at least going back to maybe a couple steps in rather than all the way back to the start.
Yeah.
Because if you fall back a little bit, it's much easier to get you back on the right path than if you fall back all the way.
Sure. Yeah. And what's your business name?
So my business is Phoenix Coaching, Phoenix Transformation Coaching. And then I also have a business related to that, protein cookies. So anabolic.
You have a
sweets.
protein cookie business?
It's something
you make protein cookies? Wow.
Yes.
What is that called?
It's called anabolic sweets.
Did you bring any?
Sadly, no, I did not. I'm currently going through a inventory switch, so I didn't have any on hand. But I would absolutely love to bring you some sometime. But basically, with the protein cookies, it's kind of viewed. I used to work as a pastry chef, and I loved working as a pastry chef. The only problem was that I love sweets too much, and they don't help my goal at all with fitness and weight loss. So these are for people who are on their fitness journey but want a real sweet treat, not like a protein bar disguised sweet treat, but a real sweet treat that has protein to fuel their goals. So I kind of view those two businesses together because they both kind of help you make those small sustainable changes on your journey.
Yeah. And then so your business is called Phoenix
PHNX Coaching.
Phoenix Coaching, got you.
Yes.
And then you have this mantra, right? Like the Phoenix moment that I saw.
Yes.
What does that mean to you?
So the Phoenix moment to me means when you break through that first momentum of getting started, that stage where you have no idea what you're doing and you have not seen any measurable results on your goals. It's that moment after you get through that initial resistance where you kind of come on top and you see yourself kind of soaring up. You're slowly shedding the bad habits. You're shedding that old view of yourself. You're not quite where you want to be, but you're in that Phoenix process, I call it.
Okay, like Phoenix Rising kind of thing.
Yes.
Okay. So that's why you went with Phoenix.
Yes.
Awesome. It's a cool name. But when you were starting and you were going through your journey, right? Your personal journey, did you have any fears, doubts? Like
Yes.
how do you curb those fears and doubts?
So the biggest fear for me that I didn't identify fully until like more recently, there was a big fear in me of why I gained the weight to begin with. What I didn't realize until recently was subconsciously the weight was a barrier for me being perceived because I didn't want to get bullied. I didn't want to get made fun of for my creativity or my appearance because I do have facial paralysis and other disabilities. So I was kind of using the weight as a cloak for me, in a sense. It was like if I'm big enough, no one's gonna notice the disabled guy in the room. They're just gonna notice the big guy and they're gonna move on. And what I had to realize is that it's okay to be seen because not everyone's gonna like you, but as long as you show up authentically as you're on this journey, you're gonna attract the people who want to be by your side. So what I mean by that is say you're really into art or something that's not conventional to what you're perceived as. If you show up in that authentically, you're gonna find people who are also have similar interests. So that's a big view of mine. Stay true to yourself on this journey because you're gonna attract the right people, and the people who do start to notice you and throw hate your way, they're not gonna last long because they're not going to want to put all that energy into showing you hate.
So what kind of people do you surround yourself with now?
So I surround myself with people who have been on similar journeys, who have been in that broken spot and are working to get their way out of it because it's a never ending journey once you start that process. So I try to surround myself with people who are in that mindset or who also have similar creative ideas or thoughts as myself. So that way we can have cool conversations. Because when you surround yourself with people who are more obsessed with the small talk, the gossip, what's popular in media, it's tough to make those connections that kind of help your brain thrive in a sense.
Yeah.
So I'm very big on making those deep connections with people who want to be around my authenticity.
Sure. How important do you think it is to have a coach or a mentor or someone there to help you as far as like being accountable?
It's very important. It's very important because sometimes with ourselves, we will inherently trick ourselves into thinking we're doing more than what we are, right? So sometimes you need that person who's there, especially when you're working out or when you're eating, who's like, who calls you out when you're not doing what you need to do with that. Because if there's no one there, then we're gonna trick ourselves more and more into thinking we're doing more than what we are.
Yeah. Yeah, you
Yes.
definitely got to have someone there to, help you stay accountable and make you do sometimes things that you don't want to do, right?
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
and how many clients do you have at the moment?
So I currently have two clients.
Okay.
I currently have two clients. I'm starting small for now while I
Hmm.
try to keep working on my journey
Yeah.
and keep working on building it up. I want to learn more as a coach. So I help some people for free as well,
Gotcha.
just to try to find a way of how I can improve as a coach. Because I know when I first get started, I'm not going to be the most perfect coach. But if I can kind of fine tune and help people along the way and learn,
Hmm.
that's kind of how I view my job right now.
Yeah. And then so you've helped two people that you're helping right now?
Yes.
And then what's their lifestyle look like right now and what are you doing to help them out?
Absolutely. So they both are kind of in a similar spot to where I was. Obviously, they hadn't reached the weight I did, but what they did was they started earlier than I did. But now I am kind of in the situation of helping them develop those small habits. So a lot of them had no idea how to track food, had no idea what weight loss even looked like, what it looked like to build a sustainable diet. And kind of what I'm doing right now is I'm observing their habits and giving them ideas on how they can change. And then slowly but surely, as they're adapting those small habits I'm giving them, we're building on them. Because I want to make it fit into their lifestyle. I don't want it to be a situation where they're trying to fit into my mold.
Hmm.
Because then they're going to struggle to live up to the perfect standard of it. And if they're anything wired like me, they're gonna fall off immediately because they're not perfect.
Yeah.
So I want it to fit into their lives in a way they're making small changes that they see.
Yeah. Do you help them or and like teach them how to like count macros? Like what are the details on like how you help them out?
Yes. So what I do is I give them an idea of, okay, this is what the macros of 100 grams of this, 100 grams of this, 100 grams of this. So for ground beef or chicken or potatoes, kind of the idea is how can I help them understand what they're putting into their body? And then the system I use has a place where they can track their food. So they'll weigh it, they'll put in how much the volume of what they're eating, and that will help them slowly understand what they're putting into their body. And then I will correct them to say if they check in and based on what they're tracking their diet and the results don't match up as well, especially if we see a trend of it, then I'll ask them, is there anything you're cooking with oil
Mm.
or salt or like anything that could be adding fat or water weight that we're not aware
Mhm.
of?
And what are some resources and tools that you use and give them so they can also track
So
stuff?
the key is a digital food scale. That's going to be the key when you're starting out. A digital food scale and something to log your food. As long as you have those two things, you can learn as you go. But it's all about figuring out your calorie deficit, learning how to weigh and track food. And those are the three key steps. And then from there, we can go into what's going to be more nutrient dense. So it's going to be more volume. But starting with those basics to understand what you're putting into your body, that's going to be key for anyone.
Yeah. Do you think most people quit right away?
Yes, I think most people they get started because they want to be perfect. They want as humans we've gotten so used to instant gratification that when we're not seeing those results quick enough or we're not able to stick to something perfectly, we assume that it's a lost cause and we give up, we go back to what's comforting for us, what we know. So I think the key for people when they're getting started is making those small changes.
Yeah. Yeah, it's tough when you're in it, right? And then you just kind of you get out of it for a bit and you almost feel like you got to start over again. How do you motivate someone when they're like in it, but then they get out of it for like a week, 2 weeks, even a month, right? How do you motivate someone to get back into it?
Absolutely. I'm glad you asked this question. That's kind of why I say when you're getting started, make the small changes. So if someone burns out and they start out at zero, there's a good thing because then they're at the point where we can make those small habits. Whereas when you come to me when you're a month in and you're about to quit and you've already been on keto or low carb or paleo or something like that that's not aligned with how you want to live, then it's tougher because when we're starting at zero, it's going to be tougher to keep up with that because you might gain weight or you might stall at first while we're getting you back to a more sustainable lifestyle.
Yeah. So yeah, it's tough to get back into it once you're out of it, right?
Absolutely.
But
Absolutely.
like you said, having a coach, mentor, having someone that you can call, reach out to, and just kind of have them guide you, basically, right? It's super important.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. And so besides your story, can you share like a story that you've had, maybe a friend or maybe one of your clients, like a success story that they've had, like maybe they lost a certain amount of weight?
Yes. So I have one client right now. I won't share their name for privacy.
Sure.
But they were overweight. They hated kind of the lifestyle they were living. They found that they were going home every day and just binge watching TV, had no purpose. And this is why I say that addiction in general, not just weight gain, but just addiction in general, it stems from not having the freedom to express creatively. Because I feel like for those who have that creative freedom, they can really thrive on this journey. But when they first started, they had no direction with their creativity. They were in a job they didn't like. And what I did was I came in and said, okay, diet we can work on. We have time to work on that. Start by just tracking your food, figuring out a calorie deficit. But what I told them is when they started, rather than going to when they feel restless or they feel angry or different emotions that they want to shove down, rather than trying to shove it down through food or alcohol, because they were also dealing with addiction, I told them, figure out a way you can creatively express it, whether that be writing, doing a voice memo, or filming a video, or drawing, something that you can do creatively that kind of helps you ease that restlessness, even if it's going to the gym. And what we realized with them slowly over time is they built these habits. So when they would feel like binging late at night and they couldn't go to sleep, what they would do is they would write down what was going on in their mind, whether that be a poem or a short story or something like that, or they would draw. And what we found with them is they slowly healed those habits that were keeping them from losing the weight. And now they're in a state where they're working on their first book and they've lost 10 pounds.
Nice.
Yes.
That's awesome.
Yes.
And obviously it's a continuous journey. They're still working at it. Yeah.
Absolutely.
What do you think of us like social media? Do you think having the social media and maybe like posting your journey on social media helps as far as like accountability?
Absolutely. I absolutely love social media. It's one of those things where I will always advocate for it because it's a way to build your brand, get yourself out there. What I say is I think the problem with modern social media is it's too focused on niching down, right? So if you post weight loss content, but that's not all you want to say, it's tough to post that other content that you're actually passionate about. And you find yourself where you're having to create other pages or suppress that side of you. So, but I think when you're starting this journey and you want to post, it's important to post that creative stuff that's not just about weight loss, because sometimes that's what we need to bring to life to express to stop us from that binge. So I think it could be a good tool, a creative outlet for someone to transfer their negative habits into a positive.
Mhm. How do you use social media to help your weight loss journey?
Yes. So I use it to hold myself accountable with my videos, but then I also use it for creativity. So if I want to post a dance vlog at the gym, or I want to post a recipe or something of that nature, I'll post that, and that will be an alternative to me binge eating or going back to one of my addictions or something of that nature. It's all about trying to build myself as a way to inspire others, hold myself accountable, but also creatively express myself.
Yeah. And then you have a community that on social media, Instagram, right?
Yes.
That follow you, support you.
Yes, my community's been absolutely amazing on my journey. I've absolutely loved working with them, inspiring them. I get so many stories, DMs of people who completely changed their lives because of my content, and I just get still so humbled by it because uh, to think I was a guy who was almost 600 pounds, an addict. I actually never been in a position I was, but now I'm in a situation where I'm using my pain to help others, and it's just such an amazing feeling. And they're keeping me accountable. I'm keeping them accountable.
Yeah. So
Yes,
it's been life changing for you.
absolutely life changing. Yes.
Yeah. So what are some goals that you want personally? Like, do you want to keep losing weight? What is it that you want to keep doing?
So I want to keep losing weight. I eventually want to start competing professionally in bodybuilding. And then I really want to build my businesses, build my brand. I want to become a household inspiration that helps people who not only with weight loss, but just people who are in that sunken spot where they feel like there's no hope for them. I want to give them hope, whether it be quitting an addiction, aligning with the career they want to be in, or taking a risk they want to take, or following their dreams. I want to be that inspiration for when people are in that space where they don't think it's possible, to show them that if someone like myself, facial paralysis, disabilities, addiction, almost 600 pounds, if I can start to claw out of it, even if it takes me like 10, 15 years, it's possible for them to start.
Yeah. Yeah, man. I'm sure you're inspiring a lot of people, like with your story and everything you've gone through. And I like that you're putting it out there for people to see. And I think it's really cool that other people can check out your story, check out your Instagram, your social media platforms, and see how far you've come. And obviously gives them inspiration to do it themselves as well.
Absolutely, absolutely, and I've absolutely loved that. It's been one of those things that keeps me going during times when I feel like giving up. I look at them, the people who have been able to inspire, the people whose lives I've changed, and it kind of gives me the realization of if if I can get them to change, why can't I get myself motivated to get back on track?
Yeah, 100%. So what's your Instagram? Where can people find you?
It's AJ's Healing Journey. That's my personal Instagram, and then my business one for my protein cookies is Anabolic Sweets.
Okay, and where can people buy your cookies at?
So right now I'm doing DM orders only because I'm still in the growth phase of the
Hmm.
business, but eventually I hope to launch a store or get my cookies into gyms.
Oh, sweet. That would be awesome.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, absolutely.
And then do you have a website?
Not yet. That's it's a very small business. We're starting a home base right now while I try to build, and then eventually I want to take it to where I have a website. I have stores.
Stores, like real.
Oh no, putting it in gyms. That's what I mean. Like putting it
Got
in
you.
gyms.
Yeah. So let's talk about a little bit about your goals for your business, right? For this transformation coaching business that you have. Like, what are your goals for that, and what do you where do you see it going?
So my goal is to build it up to help others around the world change and heal themselves and get started. Right now, it's just focusing on weight loss and starting that journey of losing weight. But eventually, I want to help people heal from addiction. I want to help people build their dream life, more like a life coach than just a weight loss.
Mhm.
But I feel like weight loss is a good start because that's the domain I'm most familiar with.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then how much weight do you want to drop now? Where do you want to land?
So I ideally want to get to 270 to start. That's my like short term goal, and then probably get skin removal, and then from there probably try to go into a masking phase so I can eventually compete professionally.
So this is a really long term
This is a really
goal.
long term.
Yeah, really long journey.
Absolutely, and that's why I don't let the haters get me down
Yeah.
anymore because they're counting in a, as Alex Hormozy says, they're counting in months and weeks and years. I'm counting in decades.
Got you.
Yes.
Is there someone that you look up to that you see and that admire?
Absolutely. There's a couple guys. Alex Hormozy is one of them. I admire his business acumen with starting his business. And I also admire, there's one other guy. I can't remember his name right now. I would say Alex Hormozy is a big inspiration for me.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Anybody in like the fitness world?
Yes. I also really admire, I'm not sure if you've seen him, Heavy to Modified on Instagram. He's lost, he started similar to where I was, and he's lost a bunch of weight, competed in summer shredding,
Oh,
and
wow.
now he inspires others. So those are two really big inspirations for me.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's awesome, man. Is there any other advice or anything you'd want to say to your community or people that are watching what kind of advice would you give them, or anything?
Absolutely. I would say if you're in that spot where you're in a sunken place, I call it, where you feel like you have no hope, you have no idea how to plow yourself out of the hole you're in right now. What I'll say is figure out the little pieces of the puzzle. Figure out the little pieces to start building your way to your dreams, because it's never too late to start. It's never too late to find a lane for yourself, to heal and change your life.
Awesome. Dude, well, thanks for coming into the studio. Really appreciate it.
Thank
And
you so much for having me.
yeah, and it's great hearing your story. And, I'm looking forward to seeing what you do and how much you keep losing weight and keep growing your businesses. Can't wait to see them. And thanks again for coming to the studio, man.
Absolutely. Thanks so much for having me. Absolutely.